Thank you so much for joining us on the Dwelling Show. I'm your host, Ola Dantes. I've got Arianne Lemire with us today. I am so excited to introduce you guys to this legend. She is crushing it for real. Thank you for coming on the show, Harry. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Ola. That was a very great introduction. So thank you so much for having me on the show. Looking
No,
forward to it.
honestly, like you guys are crushing it. Your husband Chris and you're doing a terrific job. So I cannot wait for us to jump in. So first and foremost, just tell us a little bit more about yourself. How did you get started in this game, and kind of what you're up to lately?
Okay. Well, I was actually born in the Philippines, moved to New Zealand, moved to the U.S. When I married my husband Chris, and as we started our married life journey, I was a speech language pathologist. Chris was a software developer, and we thought we'd made it. We're like, these are two great professions. This is the dream we built for ourselves. What our parents told us to do, and then after the first year in, we realized we kind of made some choices that weren't very conducive to the family life we wanted to have. So my family at that time still live in New Zealand, and then I have some extended family in the Philippines. Um, and at my job, I couldn't get time off really, so we started just envisioning our lives when we have children. We couldn't ever introduce them to their grandparents, their aunts and uncles, and things like that. So we just started looking for something else to do, something that didn't involve that particular job. So we started looking at real estate. Chris's dad actually had some rental property and did some fix and flips as he was growing up. So he was familiar with the concept. And we just started saving up some money so we can buy our first rental. And that's kind of how we got started there.
Wow, I really like the fact that you give us that intro just to kind of give folks some, context because many people say I want to do real estate, but realistically, why? What is the pain point that you're feeling that is pushing you to look outside of your, I guess, conventional life? So I really love that, you had that background of, hey, I can't even take time off to go see my parents. What if we have kids? Like, I might not be able to take time off. Like, whoa, this might not be a sustainable long-term solution to this problem that I'm feeling. So I love that you give context to that. So you bought your first rental. How did that go? How did you find that deal, and how did you fund that deal?
It was good. So that first deal, so we saved up a bunch of money, and then we started learning on bigger pockets, like how do you start Googling, how do you find your first deal, things like that. Um, we actually got a realtor, had them look at some houses. That didn't really end up, we didn't end up finding a house through that. I think we just weren't very good at networking. So we were pretty reserved people, didn't really talk to a bunch of people. So the realtor we got, they weren't, I think they were a little bit newer too. They just weren't on the ball. We had a few properties, but we just never quite got through a contract. And then I got my own real estate license because at that time we were still working. It was hard to coordinate showings and things like that. So I just said, hey, I'll spend a few $100 in Florida. It was like an online course. You take the test and you're a realtor. So I got my license. Started looking at the MLS. We started putting in our own offers through the MLS. And we found this one deal through an auction website. At that time, it was called Home Search. Now it's xome.com. We bid on the property and we won. We bought it for about $55,000. Um, and it at that time it would have rented for 900 to $1,000, so it was great. Cash flowed great. We actually moved into that property, so we didn't have our house yet. So we were our first tenants, and that's a great learn. It's a great experience because you know you're gonna pay yourself,
That's
and then
true.
and then two, you get to learn all the little quirks and mistakes of being a landlord while not really having a risk of a tenant who's going to destroy the place and not pay. So that was a good first experience.
Okay, that's awesome. So there's just a ton I'm trying to breeze through. Yeah, I mean, just kind of fast forward. You guys are kind of cash flowing like 10,000 a month. You've got over 600 units you're about to close on this year. Your wholesaling business is doing about 100 deals. So before we get to all of that, I just want to ask you a few questions. First and foremost, how did you guys get into that kind of wholesaling, building your own business from scratch? How did that happen for you guys?
We really kind of fell into that. We really wanted passive income to begin with because that's how we knew we were going to be able to travel and visit family. But after the first two rentals, we kind of ran out of money. We actually use this cool thing called delayed financing exemption, where if you buy a property for cash, you can pretty much get all your cash back within the first few weeks of the cash purchase. So we used that for our first two properties. So we bought a 55K townhouse, got all the 55K back, started renting it out so it cash flows. Then we bought another house that was, I think, 72K purchase, got the 72K out back from the bank. So we just recycled the same capital for those first two properties. The third property we bought could have been a rental, but it just needed a lot more work than the first two we bought. The first two just needed, some paint, a little bit of flooring. This third one needed a whole new roof, needed siding repair. There were termites. So it was a very interesting first renovation property. After we put in all the money into that property, we realized we couldn't pull a lot of our cash back anymore just because it needed 40,000 worth of work. So that's where we kind of fell into flipping. So we flipped that one house. We made a good amount of money. I think it was about $40,000 profit at that time. And then from there, going back to my why was to get out of this job that prevented me from traveling. Because even though we were making good money as software developer and speech language pathologist, because I couldn't take time off, we couldn't even go to the Philippines or New Zealand. Um, so just going back to my why, I realized that if we just flip a couple houses a year, then that would replace my income and I could leave the job. So that was like a big aha moment for us. Um, so that's what we did. I quit my job. We started the flipping business. We met some amazing people along the way that have helped us make it a business and not just a job. So we're actually, like, I don't see the houses. We don't talk to contractors. We actually have a team member, an employee who does that for us. Um, so yeah, that's this year we're doing about 30 flips, um, and then a few more wholesales.
Wow, fantastic. So you said some really, really important things. So first, you don't really see the houses and you don't actually speak to contractors. And, when we were flipping, last year, my wife and I realized I didn't have the temperament to speak to contractors. I mean, I did, finish the projects, but I didn't have the temperament to speak to them and also to city officials. So this is really interesting, right? Because what I say is like know thyself. So if you know that this is not something you're particularly interested in, it's kind of best to take yourself, and that's what you guys have done. So I really think that's a great point. I definitely want to touch on one thing as well, right? You guys were in debt, you said, right? You had like 50K in
Yes.
debt, and a lot of people that might be listening to us right now might have some kind of debt. It might be student loan, it might be just consumer, credit card debt or whatever, and they're thinking, oh my goodness, this is such a stopping block, in my way that I can actually get into the real estate investing game. What would you say to that person?
So I say just make a plan. Like whatever your situation you're in now, it could be a few $1,000s in debt, $50,000 in debt like we had, or a lot more. Just kind of take a step back, look at what you want to accomplish, and if you do have some high interest debt, like my student loan was pretty high interest, and especially credit card debt, definitely chip away at those first. Make Sit down, look at your budget, figure out what you're spending each month, and really just look at what do you really need to be spending money on, and then just look at the things that you wouldn't really miss if you didn't spend that money. Like for us, when we first did that in the beginning, we looked at, we cut up some cable bills. We didn't buy a car that we wanted to buy because we know that would add a few $100s to our expenses, and really just we just simplified our life so that we wouldn't miss what we didn't pay for, but also it helped us save a lot of money to put towards paying off that debt.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. I really like that. That makes absolute sense. So let's kind of go back a little bit, right? I was kind of reading reading your post as well. So you got kind of started in 2015, and here we are in 2019. and you've closed on about 400 units as limited partners, right, and general partners on some apartment investing deals, which is obviously our bread and butter, yeah, dwelling. So great job on that. So how was it like for you guys though, from going to, from flippers, right, to now partnering with syndicators in the game on, and also being, a limited partner and a general partner? How did you guys go about that process of selecting, a good syndicator?
Really, we just started researching a bunch of different syndicators. We saw some of them on Bigger Pockets, and usually when you start listening to different podcasts, like you, although you have a lot of other great syndicators on your podcast, we just started listening to them and finding people who we resonate with. I think people are different, right? So somebody who wants to invest with a certain person might not necessarily want to invest with the same person, and usually your investment strategies are different too. Some people might want higher risk, higher reward. Some people might want a more stable return without much of a high risk. So I think just listening to different people and then start reaching out with them. So we listened to probably 20 different podcasts, 20 different people at one point, and we just started talking to the operators. We started going to events as well, and we met some of the operators face to face. And I think that really solidified some of those things. I think in any business, the asset is great, but really what you need to know is the person or the team behind the asset and the property, because you could have an amazing asset, and this applies to flipping and multifamily properties. You could have a slam dunk deal, and you have the wrong person running that deal. it it's not going to go very well. So you need to find the right people with integrity and somebody you can trust, that you know you can actually invest your hard-earned money with, and you know that if something happens, they're gonna like work all these crazy hours and make everything right if for some reason the deal doesn't go as planned.
So to kind of piggyback on what you've been saying as well is, I mean, that integrity and that trust is so key. So and obviously that's what we do with our investors here at Dwelling, to make sure that there's a fit initially, as opposed to like a
Mhm.
forceful relationship, because it's kind of a marriage, right? These deals
Right.
typically take 5 to 7 years, so it's literally a marriage, and we don't like divorces, so we try to make sure there's a match in the beginning. Thanks for bringing that up. I want to really touch on mindset, right? Because there's no way, in my opinion anyway, that you guys went, from 2015 to 2019, and you've done so much. I mean, I don't even think we have enough time to really, peel back what you guys have done. You've built a real business, like you said, right? You're investing, you're going to be closing out another 250 units before the end of this year. So, mindset, in my opinion, has possibly played a big role. I mean, that's 4 years. That's really, really quick, right? Um,
Definitely.
yeah. So can you talk a little bit more as to, where your mindset is at? Obviously, I'm an immigrant just like you, and my wife as well, who's Filipino just like you. So, a lot of people say like the American dream is dead, or, whoever is in the White House right now, or there might be a recession. That's the buzzword right now. What are your thoughts in terms of, how mindset has really propelled you guys to get to where you are today?
I think mindset is the most important thing. Um, First, just knowing that it's possible. Most people just don't know. Like you said it earlier, from $50,000 in debt 4 years ago to now, I wouldn't even know that. I would never have imagined, if you talked to me 4 years ago, that week I could say that. It just wasn't even in the horizon for me. But if you're listening to the show and you listen to Ola, and like you know it's possible. So first, know in your heart and believe in, like, truthfully, that you can make this happen. And the story might be a little bit different, right? We're all in different stages in life, and we all have different desires, different goals, different family lives, and all that. But just know that you can accomplish something amazing, and start figuring out what that something is, because it might be different. It's going to be different for each of us. You might want to start directly into multifamily investing. That's great. You might start in flipping houses. That's great. Um, but just pick one thing first. Don't try like 10 things at once. Pick one thing and get started. Another thing that really helped me in the mindset is hanging out with the right people, talking to the right people. that can help shape your mindset. Um, in the beginning, if you aren't around those type of people, sometimes you'll get discouraged. And when we started out too, even friends and family, they mean well, right? My parents, the reason I became a speech language pathologist was because of my parents. They said, get a great paying job in the medical field because that's never gonna go away. And they were right. They really were right. And when we started talking to them about real estate, they were like, what are you doing? You have this amazing job and you work so hard to get it. Why would you even think of something else? They say that with the best of intentions, but it can really cloud your mind a lot. So talk to people who share the same goals, and talk to people who are where you want to be, because they're the ones you need to learn from. Yeah, that's my biggest, I think, give on mindset. Just talk to the right people.
Right, I like that. I like that a lot. So, somebody might be listening to this and thinking, "Oh my goodness, like she's quit her job. It's about 10K plus in passive income per month. A lot is going on." So others might be also thinking, "Well, you've quit your job. Are you just like, hanging out, sipping, pina coladas on the beach somewhere?" I mean, what does that life look like? I always think of, when someone quits their job, that's like, the other side of the good life, right? This is like the great life, right? So how does that look? Are you just, chilling out on the beach every day?
No. I tried it a little while. It's not really my cup of tea chilling out on the beach the whole day. So right now I still lead the wholesaling and flipping business. We do about 100 transactions a year. We have a team of 10. So I'm still the person who runs that company. And while I don't look at the houses or anything, like most of my time is devoted to team building, employee development, coaching our staff so that they can be the best at what they do, and that helps our company be the best at what we do. Our goal here in the flipping company is to be able to give $500,000 a year in the next 8 years. So we're building up to that. Um, on the multifamily side, uh, Chris mainly runs that operation because most of my time is spent in the flipping company. But I also help out there talking to other investors, talking to other operators, syndicators, so we can build those relationships. Um, we balance our time with a lot of travel because that was our why. So this year we're spending 4 months away from the business with family. So earlier this year, my family was here. We spent a month just traveling the U.S. We're also getting ready to go over to New Zealand, Australia, and Hawaii to spend time with them again. We're taking them to a personal development event with Tony Robbins in Sydney, and then we're spending some just relaxation time with them. Um, so yeah, it's we spend some leisure time, but it's for a purpose, right? So when we're chilling out somewhere, it's because we're with our families and we're fully devoted there to spend time with them. And when we're at work, we're fully devoted to work.
I love that. That is amazing. Like actually taking your family to see Tony Robbins. I'm a big fan, especially Jim Rohn.
Mm.
Tony Robbins is mentor. I'm a big fan, so definitely love that. So last question before we go into the quick rounds. Yeah, what is next for you guys? I know you've got your company. Like you said, but what are you guys looking to do? Are you guys looking to kind of shift your strategy, maybe say into full time, multifamily, or are you gonna keep both businesses? What are your thoughts in terms of 5-10 years outlook?
So we're definitely keeping both businesses. We actually just hired an integrator for the flipping business. So instead of me running the whole operation, I'm gonna train them for the next 6 months to a year, so they know all the ins and outs, and they're gonna run that operation, and I'll be jumping more full time into the multifamily side of the business. So that's the plan for the flipping business. We're still going to hit our 8 year, 10-year goal of giving $500,000 a year in that business. And then on the multifamily side, the goal for that side is to be able to also give 500,000 a year in the next 10 years. So between those businesses, that's kind of the 10-year goal. And we say that goal because we're really simple people. Like I said, I kind of hinted earlier, like we trim down all of the fat in the beginning years of our marriage to what do we really need. So we don't really need very much. And for us, it's more about giving, and it's not just money. The monetary goal is the $1 million combined goal is a number because we kind of need some metrics to hit that. But for us, it's just giving of our resources, and that's time, effort, skills. We want to give to the world and leave the world a better place. We want our employees to have amazing careers with us. We want our investors in the multifamily side to be able to live kind of the lifestyle we have, having passive income. And in order to do that in a larger scale, impact more people, have more people who have passive income, have more people have amazing careers, like we need to just we're excited to be able to do that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I really, really enjoy that. I mean, I love that number. Really nice round number there, a million. I love it. So we're definitely dwelling into the quick round. These are going to be quick questions, quick answers. You ready?
Yep.
All right. First question. What makes you, Ari, unique? What is that differentiating factor that separates you from the next guy or the next girl?
For me, I think it's stewardship. So I'm truly grateful of what God has blessed us with, and because of that, I want to always do the best I can with whatever it is, whether it's time, finances, skills, a company, whatever. I just always want to keep on improving what we have, and then continue giving that away. So that, and then also just an unmatched work ethic. Um, I don't think any. I mean, I can work so much when I need to.
I can tell because we literally just spoke yesterday and we're on a call today. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, we gotta make it happen.
I love it. Next question. What was the last book that you read, and what was the one thing that you picked up from that book?
Last book I just reread Traction by Gina Wickman, and it's an amazing book about systems and processes and building a company. But the one thing that really resonated with me as I reread it is they were talking about growing small before you grow big. And it kind of brought me back to, so we have that huge goal, right? We want to give $500,000 a year. That then it'll be a multi-million dollar company, like the flipping company, by the time we get there. But right now we're in a season of growth where we kind of have to grow internally first. We have to put in a lot towards our people that we have now so that they can become leaders that can continue that growth. It has to go past me just being the sole leader right now. We have to sow into our people and get them their skills up, their leadership up, and their confidence in themselves so that they can start sparking the next wave of growth.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Last question. You've kind of mentioned it, but I might as well just ask it again. You've obviously running your company, you're doing a terrific job. Chris is handling the multifamily side. You guys are busy. What do you do for fun?
We like traveling and spending time with family and food. So whenever we travel, we find like a nice restaurant we're gonna eat at, spend some time there, have some good food, and then continue our journey.
Yep. My wife and I, we share the same exact hobby, travel and then food. It's like the two. Even here in Baltimore, we know the little spots, the Thai places, the Vietnamese place. Yeah, we just love food. So yeah, definitely share that in common. Ari, thank you so much for coming on the show. If there's somebody listening thinking, I really like this Ari girl, I want to know her more, maybe they're in the Florida market or maybe anywhere, you know, um, in the United States. Only heck, we have listenership in the Philippines, believe it or not. So if
Awesome.
there's somebody that wants to connect with you, where is the best place, folks can find you?
Yeah, feel free to email me, Ari, @ghhouses.com, and I'm sure Ola will put it in the notes here as well. But I'm always happy to chat, always happy to meet some new people. So feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. It's been an amazing time. I learned a ton myself. Thank you. Wow, Harry's story is just one of a kind. I cannot even believe the timeline. I mean, literally in 4 years, she's done a ton. She's closing left, right, and center. They're doing about 10K in passive income. They closed almost like 600, units, or 630, I think it was. And they're looking to even close more. She's doing a ton with her husband. So if you're out there thinking, how do I get started? I think this is definitely a good inspirational story for you right there. So first, I just want to say, like, don't ever think you can't do something. I mean, our case is just a classic quintessential, American dream. Whatever you can really think of in your mind, you actually can achieve it. So use her, as an inspiration board to spring you into your next journey. I think also I just want to say thank you for all you guys watching and listening, week in and week out watching. I see all kind of the downloads figures. I really appreciate you. Of course, we want to kind of grow the show a little bit more. So if you're listening to me and you can hear my voice, we're definitely asking for your review. Subscribe, and hit that review button, and just give us a review so we know how we're doing. And it also obviously helps the show grow as well. I just want to say thank you so much, guys, and I'll definitely can't wait to see you guys in the next episode.